the text reminds us of using our financial means to make friends with Jehovah and Jesus. And even though Jehovah owns everything, seeing us giving, making sacrifices, makes him happy. The result is a close relationship, or in the words of our scripture text, we become friends.
How you doing, guys? Does anybody remember back in the day, to be Jehovah's friend, you had to go to every single meeting, every convention, every assembly, and had to be in service umpteen million hours a month? Well, Watchtower in their infinite wisdom has done you JWs a favor. Because now, you can buy Jehovah's affection like a $20 crack whore. One thing I've always been good at is saving money, stashing away. Most of the time. I mean, let's face it, we've all go through hard times. But I had badly compromised myself in 2007 after I was baptized at the Follow the Christ District Convention. Well, all of a sudden now I'm a JW. Now I'm required to go out in service. Now, I had coincidentally lost my job that weekend, and I went through some financial hard times. And the funny thing was, looking back on it, it wasn't the organization that did it. It was the fact that I allowed it to happen, which I did very badly. I finally had put the brakes on, but I sat back and I started noticing. There were two classes of people in the hall, and I started noticing that there were those in the know and those that weren't. See, those that were in the know knew better. Now, they were JWs in good standing. They were at every meeting, they were out in field service, but the one thing they knew enough not to do was make sizable donations, if any at all. Those that weren't in the know were the ones who kept those coffers filled up, those that donated everything. I look back at some of the sizable donations I had made. I finally realized I could no longer do it, but they kept pushing that and pushing that. I struggled. And after a while, I finally says, no, I got to put a little bit more emphasis on my income. It's been pretty obvious over the last some years now that Watchtower's been pushing and pushing and pushing for donations where they claim that they do not take any collections, which technically is true, but we all know how they work on that. They pull at the heartstrings to get that money. Well, they now have many, many child abuse lawsuits that basically have to be paid for. You just can't ignore that. And they get more and more courts worldwide pushing for fines, paying off these child abuse lawsuits. Let's face it, Watchtower is a corporation like any other corporation. And JWs may be surprised to know that your Watchtower's governing body are not the top dogs in this corporation. They're a corporation like any other. They have shareholders. They have a board of directors. Your governing body are frontmen. See, and it's every job of every board of directors to make sure that that corporation is making money. Otherwise, the shareholders are not happy. The only authority the governing body has that they were given was authority over the rank and file. They're basically told what to do. And in recent years, they've been told to push the donations, and they have been, blatantly. And I remember how many times I was told that they never push for donations, they take up no collections, yet every month there's another video about donations. And this one is no different. I had an email a couple of days ago that told me about this one video, and I took a look at it, and I'm like, wow, how blatant. And I'm just wondering if this is going to wake JWs up. Now, the one thing is, we all know Jehovah's Witnesses are basically held hostage. They basically can go nowhere while they're in the organization. And JWs may be surprised to know that the governing body is no different. They also are held hostage. See, if the corporation isn't making money, you see how fast that governing body will be replaced. And if you don't think that's true, look back a few years. Remember the Bethelites that were laid off? the same thing could happen to the governing body at any given time. Now, the corporation does not want to give up their savings. They do not want to give up what they already have in the coffers, so they're told their front men, push for donations, get them to give more money. And for the most part, they are. But as the numbers dwindle in the organization, they have to push all the harder to get all the more money. Many think that the governing body are very wealthy men. Let's take a look at that. And let's take a look and see how they hold the governing body hostage. I can't say how much they're considered monetarily. They do live quite well. Their residents are paid for. They have enviable health insurance, dental. They're obviously not starving. They have monthly account reports that get them through. But as far as monetary consideration, I don't know about. See, at any given time, they may say, this is bullshit. I don't want any part of this organization. Well, if they do that, they walk away from the monthly accounts, the expense accounts. They walk away from the way they're living. They walk away from their retirement. They walk away from their health insurance. They walk away from any stock auctions. You want to believe that the organization is going to make sure they have nothing, which holds them in place. And at this stage of the game, what are they qualified to do? Take a job as a greeter at Walmart? That's about it. They're not going to give up their cushy lifestyle. But yes, they are being held hostage because they have no savings. Granted, yes, they have Rolexes, they have expensive jewelry, they have designer suits, but that's all with their monthly expense accounts. They'd have no bank accounts to speak of. It's not like they could just cash it in and go live in Tahiti somewhere. No, they are stuck where they are. So they're told to push for more and more donations, and they will continue to do so. Or they can and will be replaced, or flat out laid off, and the board of directors will think of something else. And you want to believe that every month that goes by, these guys are sweating. And they are sweating the XJWs on YouTube. They are sweating what the social media are saying about them because it's doing them damage. And the board of directors, the shareholders both are saying, do something about this, because they're all about the money. Now, I had listened to this video. I was more concerned with the beginning and how it ended. And pretty much, it was BS, the usual BS. That's smiling, donate, give till it hurts. How are these guys any different than the televangelists? They're not, except the televangelists do it so much better. These guys jumped on the bandwagon just a little bit too late. I saw that video and I kind of wanted to get this message out there. But that's pretty much all I have. I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. If you want to check it out, you can check it out on their website because it is still there. You guys have a good day. I'll be talking to you soon.
Then think about the fact that during the same time, 20,331 Bethelites served at the various branches. And we all got our modest allowance, and we all have something to eat. And then see that the branch facilities need to be maintained and have been maintained. Or think about the relief ministry. In addition to the voluntary work of so many brothers and sisters, and in addition to their personal funds that they spend in order to help, the organization spends millions on the relief ministry. So our activity as a global organization is not performed in order to make financial profit, but in order to fulfill our assignment that Jesus gave. So in this way, whether we look at it as from the perspective of an individual, the congregation, or the global organization, let us continue to give from what we have. Let us continue to make sacrifices, and we will be happy with having Jehovah and Jesus as our friends.